Welcome to the Learning English podcast. Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the Learning English podcast. I'm Jennifer. Thank you for choosing to spend some of your valuable time with us today. We're really happy you're here.
And I'm John. It's wonderful to be back in this cozy space with you all. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're closing the book on 1 year and gently, very gently, looking ahead to the next one, 2026.
Exactly. And we want to emphasize that word, gently. This time of year can be full of pressure. You know, new year, new you. Big ambitious goals, gym memberships, crazy diets. It can be a lot.
Right. It can feel like you failed before you even started. So we're throwing all of that out the window. For our listeners, that's an idiom. To throw something out the window means to completely get rid of an idea.
A perfect explanation. Our goal today is not to make huge promises we can't keep. It's to have a quiet, honest conversation. The kind of chat you might have with a good friend. This is perfect practice for your daily life English because these are the real conversations that connect us.
Absolutely. We believe that reflecting, just thinking quietly about our experiences, is one of the most useful things we can do. It helps us understand ourselves better. So grab a cup of tea or coffee, get comfortable, and let's start by looking back.
Okay, John, the big question first. When you think about this past year, not just the events, but the overall feeling, what comes to mind? If you had to describe it with a metaphor or an image, what would it be?
That's a great question. Last time we talked, you said a roller coaster, which is a great one with its ups and downs. But for me, this year felt more like trying to assemble furniture with confusing instructions.
I love that. I know that feeling so well. Tell me more.
Well, you have this picture on the box of what it's supposed to look like, this beautiful, perfect table. That's your plan for the year. But when you open the box, there are hundreds of strange pieces. The instructions are just weird drawings, no words.
Right, and you're sure some pieces are missing.
Exactly. There were moments of frustration where I felt like just giving up, and moments where two pieces finally clicked together and it felt like a huge victory. In the end, I built something, but it's a little wobbly and it doesn't look exactly like the picture on the box. But it's mine, and it works. That was my year. How about you? Did roller coasters stick with you?
It did, but your metaphor is making me think. I think for me, it felt like learning to cook a new, complicated recipe. At the beginning, I was optimistic. I had all the ingredients, but then some steps were much harder than I expected. I burned a few things. I made a huge mess in the kitchen.
A familiar story.
There were moments I just wanted to order a pizza and forget about it, but there were these small, wonderful moments, like when I finally understood how to chop an onion properly, or the amazing smell when everything started coming together. The final dish wasn't perfect, but it was nourishing, and I learned so much in the process. So yes, a messy, challenging, but ultimately nourishing year.
I think those are both such relatable images. Life rarely looks exactly like the picture on the box. So let's talk about some of those messy, difficult moments. Let's each share one hard moment from this past year and really get into the story of it.
Okay, I can go first. My hardest moment was connected to a creative project. I'd had this idea for years to write a collection of short stories for children. It was my passion project, the thing I worked on in the evenings and on weekends. I poured my heart and soul into it.
That's a beautiful goal. So what happened?
Well, after about a year of writing, I finally finished it. I was so proud. I felt like I had climbed a mountain. I sent the manuscript to a few small publishers and literary agents. I was so hopeful. I pictured the book on a shelf with beautiful illustrations.
I can imagine the excitement and the fear.
So much fear. And then the rejections started coming in. First one, then another. Most were just standard form letters, a polite no thank you. But one editor took the time to write a detailed email, and it was brutal.
Oh no, what did they say?
They said the stories were sweet but old-fashioned, that they lacked a modern voice. And the one that really stung was, the writing is competent but not memorable. Ouch. Competent but not memorable. It felt like a punch to the gut.
Wow, that is incredibly harsh. A punch to the gut is another great idiom. It means something shocks or upsets you deeply, and that would definitely do it.
It really did. For about a month, I couldn't even look at the manuscript. I felt like a complete failure. All that time, all that love I had put into it, it felt like it was worthless. I started to doubt myself as a writer entirely. It was a really dark period of self-criticism. That was my low point.
That's completely understandable. It's so hard when you put yourself out there, when you're vulnerable, and you get that kind of feedback. Thank you for sharing that story, Jen. It's very brave.
Thank you. Okay, your turn. What was your moment of assembling wobbly furniture?
My hard moment was less of a single event and more of a slow realization that I was completely burnt out. For our listeners, burnt out is a state of total exhaustion caused by prolonged stress.
What did that look like for you? What were the symptoms?
It started with just feeling tired all the time, a kind of tiredness that sleep didn't fix. Then, things I usually enjoyed, like playing guitar or meeting friends, started to feel like a chore, like another item on my to-do list. I was becoming very cynical and irritable. My family noticed I was quiet and distant.
It sounds like the color was draining from your world.
That's the perfect description. The breaking point came one Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting at my desk, staring at my computer screen. I had a huge deadline, but I couldn't write a single word. My mind was completely blank. I felt a sense of panic, but I was also too tired to even feel the panic properly. I just sat there for an hour, doing nothing.
That sounds awful. The feeling of being stuck.
It was. I realized I was trying to pour from an empty cup. Another good idiom, which means you can't give energy to others or to your work if you have no energy yourself. I had to admit that I couldn't keep going like that. The hardest part was telling my boss I needed to take a few days off and canceling plans with friends. I felt so guilty, like I was letting everyone down. But I knew if I didn't stop, I would break.
Wow, it takes a lot of self-awareness and courage to do that. Okay, I think we've spent enough time in the difficult parts of the year. Let's move on to the good stuff, the moments that made us smile. For anyone listening, maybe this is a good moment to just pause for a minute and think about what was one genuinely good moment for you this year. It doesn't have to be big, just a small moment of warmth.
That's a great invitation. Okay, a good moment. Mine actually happened not long after that period of burnout. My family and I went to a state park about an hour from our home. We went on a Saturday in late summer. It wasn't a big planned vacation, it was very spontaneous.
The best kind of trip.
It really is. The air was at perfect temperature, warm but with a little hint of coolness coming. We found a wooden bench that overlooked a big, calm lake, and we just sat there for maybe an hour. We had a rule: no phone.
A very important rule.
Crucial. And we watched as the sun started to set. The sky turned from blue to this incredible mix of orange, pink, and purple. The light on the water was shimmering. We weren't talking about anything important. My daughter was telling a long, silly story about a squirrel she saw, but we were all there, together, completely present in that moment. I remember feeling the rough wood of the bench under my hands, and I just felt peaceful. All the stress just melted away. It was a simple, perfect moment of connection.
That sounds absolutely beautiful. It's amazing how powerful those simple, quiet moments can be. It's like they refill your cup. My good moment was also something small. Do you remember how I said I felt like a failure after my book was rejected?
Of course.
Well, During that time, I felt I needed to do something with my hands, something that wasn't about words or ideas. So I decided finally to start a tiny herb garden on my kitchen windowsill. I bought 3 small pots, a bag of soil, and seeds for basil, mint, and parsley. I had no idea what I was doing. I've killed many plants in my life.
I am also a known plant killer. It's a sad club to be in.
It is, but this time I read the instructions, I put the pots in the sun, and I watered them. And a week later, these tiny bright green leaves started to poke out of the soil. John, I was so excited. It felt like magic. Every morning I would check on them, and slowly they grew into actual leafy plants.
So you succeeded.
I did. The good moment was the first time I made pasta and went to my windowsill with a pair of scissors and snipped off some fresh basil leaves to put on top. The smell was amazing. It was such a small thing, but it felt like a huge achievement. I had created something real and alive and good. It wasn't a book, but it was something, and it was enough.
That's a fantastic story. It's about finding success in a different, unexpected place. Okay, this brings us to our last point of reflection. One quiet lesson we learned this year, something that shifted our perspective.
My lesson came directly from that experience with my writing project. The lesson is this: rest is a crucial part of the creative process. It's not laziness, it's incubation.
Incubation. Can you explain that word for our listeners?
Yes, incubation is like when a chicken sits on an egg to keep it warm so the chick can grow. It's a period of waiting and development. After I got that rejection, my first instinct was to start writing immediately to prove that editor wrong, but I was too sad and tired, so instead I did nothing. I gave myself permission to just stop. I read books for fun, not for research. I watched silly movies. I tended to my little herb garden. I felt guilty at first, but then I realized my brain was healing. New ideas, completely unrelated to my old project, started to bubble up. I learned that my brain needed that empty space. Rest wasn't a waste of time, it was essential.
That's such a profound lesson. My quiet lesson is very similar. It's that it is okay to not finish things. I was always a member of the Clean Plate Club. I had to finish all the food on my plate, and that applied to everything: books, projects, TV shows. But during my burnout, I was reading a very long, very famous novel that I just was not enjoying, and halfway through I just stopped. I closed the book and put it back on the shelf.
And did you feel a sense of freedom?
Immense freedom. I realized my time and energy are finite resources. They are limited, and I get to choose how to spend them. Forcing myself to finish something I didn't enjoy was a waste of that precious energy. It's not a failure to quit something that isn't working for you. It's an act of wisdom.
I love that. Our lessons are two sides of the same coin, aren't they? It's about giving ourselves permission. Permission to rest and permission to quit. Okay, I feel like we've had a really good deep look in the rearview mirror. Shall we turn our car around and look gently down the road toward 2026?
Let's do it. As we said, we are not making big, scary resolutions. Instead, I like to use a simple and kind framework. I ask myself 3 questions. What is one thing I want to stop? What is one thing I want to continue? And what is one thing I want to start?
Stop, continue, start. I love how simple that is. It's not about becoming a whole new person, it's about making small adjustments, little course corrections.
Exactly. Small, gentle shifts. So let's talk about stop. What is one small habit or mindset you would like to leave behind this year, Jennifer?
Okay, my stop is a little embarrassing, but I know I'm not alone in this. I want to stop apologizing so much for things that are not my fault.
Ooh, that's a big one. Can you give me an example?
I do it constantly. The other day at the grocery store, someone bumped their cart into me quite hard, and my immediate reaction was to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He was the one who hit me. Or if I have a question in a meeting, I'll say, "Sorry, this might be a silly question, but I'm apologizing for my own curiosity." It's a habit of making myself smaller.
That's really insightful. It's a verbal tic that a lot of people have. A tic is a repeated unconscious habit. So, what's your strategy to stop?
My strategy is to replace the word. So instead of starting a question with sorry, I will just ask the question. Instead of saying sorry, I'm a few minutes late, I will try to say thank you for your patience. It reframes the situation from my mistake to their kindness. It's a small linguistic shift, but I think it will have a big impact on my confidence.
That is a brilliant and powerful stop. Okay, my turn for continue. I want to continue the habit I started during my burnout, my 15-minute morning walk without my phone.
Tell us more about this walk. What makes it so important to you?
It's my anchor for the day. I live on a quiet street with a lot of trees, so I walk the same simple route every morning. I notice the small things, a new flower blooming, the way the light hits the leaves. I listen to the birds. It's my time to connect with the real physical world before I connect to the digital world of emails and news and notification.
It sounds like a form of meditation.
It is, in a way. There have been cold, rainy mornings where I was tempted to skip it, but I always feel so much better when I do it. It clears the fog from my brain. It sets a calm and intentional tone for the rest of the day. It's a small promise I keep to myself, and that's why I must continue it.
That's a perfect continue, protecting a small habit that gives you so much back. Okay, we've come to start. What is a new small practice you want to bring into your life in 2026? I have one.
Let's hear it.
I want to start a curiosity journal. I got a small, simple notebook, and my plan is every evening to write down one question that occurred to me during the day. Just one.
What a fascinating idea. What kind of questions?
Anything at all. It could be simple, like how did they get the stripes in toothpaste? Or it could be bigger, like what did this street look like 100 years ago? The point is not to immediately find the answer. The point is to pay attention to my own sense of wonder. I feel like as adults, we stop asking why. I want to bring that childlike curiosity back into my life.
That is such a beautiful and creative start. It's about the process, not the product. It trains your brain to be more observant and engaged with the world. I might steal that idea.
Please do. All right, John, bring us home. What is your stop and what is your start?
Okay, my stop is a classic one for the modern age. I want to stop looking at my phone for the first 30 minutes after I wake up.
Ah, the dreaded morning scroll. So many of us are guilty of that.
Deeply guilty. My alarm goes off, and before I'm even fully awake, I'm scrolling through emails, news headlines, social media. It means the very first thing that enters my brain in the morning is stress, outrage, or comparison. It's a terrible way to start the day. It's like letting 100 noisy strangers into your bedroom before you've even had a glass of water.
That is such a powerful visual, letting noisy strangers into your bedroom. It's so true. You're inviting the chaos of the world into your most peaceful space at your most vulnerable time of day. So what will you do with that time instead? Just be quiet?
Exactly. My phone will be charging across the room, so I can't just reach for it. I'll do my morning walk, or maybe just sit with a cup of tea and watch the world wake up outside my window. I want my own thoughts to be the first voice I hear in the morning. And for my start, which connects to this idea of being more intentional, I want to start reaching out to one friend or family member each week with a real, non-digital message.
That's so nice. A real, tangible connection. In our digital world, getting a physical letter or card in the mail feels so special.
Life gets so busy, and it's so easy to just like a photo and think you've connected with someone. But that's not real connection. I want to take a few minutes each Sunday, sit down with a pen, and write a short postcard. Just, "Hey, I was thinking about you this week. Hope you're doing well." It's a small gesture, but I think it can make a big difference in maintaining those important bonds.
I think that's a beautiful intention. A small action with a big impact. So now we have our lists. They feel so much more gentle and achievable than I will go to the gym 5 times a week.
Exactly. And for our listeners, we encourage you to think about this too. What is one small thing you could stop, one you could continue, and one you could start? There's no right or wrong answer. It's just a tool for gentle reflection.
You know, this reminds me of another practice that I find really helpful, and it's a lovely alternative to resolutions. It's the idea of choosing one single word to be your guide for the year.
Oh, I've heard of this. It's a great idea. Instead of a list of rules, you choose a single word to act as a theme or a compass for the year. Is that right?
Exactly. When you have a list of goals, it's very black and white. Either you achieve it or you fail. But a word is a gentle guide. It doesn't demand perfection. So when you're faced with a choice during the year, you can ask yourself, does this align with my word? For example, if your word is peace, you can ask, will this decision bring more peace into my life?
That's a much kinder way to approach self-growth. A compass, not a map. So, have you thought about a word for yourself for 2026?
I have, actually. I've been thinking about this a lot. After feeling so burnt out and disconnected, my word for 2026 is going to be space.
Space. I love that. Tell me what that word means to you.
Well, it has a few meanings for me. First, it's about physical space. This past year, my home office became very cluttered and messy, which made my mind feel cluttered and messy. I want to create a calm, organized physical space to work and live in. It's also about mental space. Like we talked about, not grabbing my phone in the morning creates mental space. It gives my own thoughts room to breathe.
This has been such a nice chat, Jennifer. It feels good to talk about these things in an honest and unpressured way.
I agree. So, to quickly recap for everyone listening, we reflected on the past year by sharing a hard moment, a good moment, and a quiet lesson we learned. It's a simple but powerful way to look back with kindness.
Then we looked ahead to 2026 using the gentle stop, continue, start framework, which is all about making small, sustainable changes rather than huge, scary resolutions.
And finally, we talked about choosing a single word, like space or nourish, to act as a compass for the year. We hope these ideas give you some gentle ways to think about your own journey. We're wishing all of you a peaceful, healthy, and happy 2026.
And we hope it's a wonderful year for your English learning too. The goal is always to practice in a way that feels calm, meaningful, and very human. If you enjoyed our cozy chat today, please consider subscribing to the Learning English podcast for more episodes.
Thank you so much for listening and sharing this time with us. We really appreciate it.
Until next time, be kind to yourselves. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
The Learning English podcast, helping you to learn English.